Hello and welcome. Today we're going to look into NASA and their lies because most of you at home, it turns out, actually believe in NASA and their lies. So we're going to look into some evidence, some footage. I already know some of you are going to ask, where's your source material? Where's your evidence? NASA.gov. NASA.gov is my evidence, not conspiracy.com. NASA.gov. Go there and look for yourself. All right, so we're going to dive right in. Let's look at the first little bit here. So we're going to look at a couple of videos and we'll just kind of go from there. All right, so first we're going to look at Don. Now Don here is a NASA astronaut and he has worked on the ISS space station. So let's see what he has to say when he was asked about going back to the moon.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again. But going to Mars should be one of the next series of steps that humans do. The first step should be going back to the moon for a number of technical reasons and exploration reasons, and then after that, Mars, maybe high orbit in Venus atmosphere, maybe going to Europa. There's all kinds of targets to go to, places of interest in our solar system. The only limit to human future is in our own imaginations.
Oh my God. And just look at him. Like, just look at how, just look at his face, man. Like, what a goof. Look at him.
The only limit to human future is in our own imagination.
He's so nervous. He's like, is this video getting put on the internet? Like, am I gonna be live?
I'd go to the moon.
Okay, so why don't we go back to the moon? That's what everyone's asking. Everyone asks, why do we not go back to the moon? So, according to the NASA astronaut himself, we used to, but we destroyed that technology and it's too painful of a process to recreate it. That is a lie. That is a lie. It is 2019. I do not believe for a second that NASA, that gets $57 million a day, is not capable of recreating technology that came from 1969. The moon landing is the greatest achievement that humans have ever done, was putting someone on the moon and bringing them back to Earth. Now, I'm not going to believe for a second that you destroyed that technology, because you don't destroy that kind of technology. When you put someone on the moon and back, you put that in a museum, you preserve it, you show it to people, you hang it high and proud. You don't destroy that technology. You don't. All right, so here's a quick little video we're going to watch about telemetry tapes, and I wonder what happened to them. What happened to the footage of the moon landings?
It was all recorded on these telemetry tapes. So where is this hard evidence?
I haven't seen anything that indicates the telemetry data is even in existence, and as I said, even if we had it, we don't have the machines to play it back.
Are you kidding me? Like, what?
But your own research has shown the telemetry data is missing.
That's right.
Could this be true? Mankind's first interplanetary exploration and the original science data is missing?
11, this is Houston, radio check, over.
If it's anywhere, it should be here at NASA's Goddard Space Center in Maryland, home to the National Space Science Data Archives.
This film you're making now, what is it?
Oh, he's nervous as hell. Just look
does it
at
have
him.
I mean, do you have a name for it yet, or are you?
He's sweating.
Did we go? Okay.
Doesn't have it either. The Smithsonian doesn't have it. Johnson doesn't have it.
Right. We've been unable to track it down. I mean, we don't know where this telemetry data ended up, and we don't know what path it may have taken. So, unfortunately, I'm afraid I can't really give you much of a clue as to where this data ended up and whether it still exists.
Are you kidding me? Okay, and why would anybody give NASA $57 million a day, an annual budget of about $21 billion, when you record the greatest achievement that humans have ever done, but you can't find the tapes? You're like, ah, man, like we had the tapes and they were awesome and we were so proud of them. And, you know, we beat the Russians to the moon, but then we like lost them. We just like kind of lost the tapes. They just, you know, it's such a lie, man. That's such a lie. All right, so this here is probably my favorite video that I have to show. We got my good buddy Don again on the right side here, supposedly on the ISS. I find this video so funny because what happens here is that these two are asked about looking out the window in space, and they just go on about how you can see stars and planets and you can just see all this stuff. And then we'll look at astronauts of the past and they'll say that you cannot see a single thing and that it is just the blackest black that you can see in space. Like, somebody's lying. You know, even if you don't believe don't believe that we landed on the moon, or you do believe that we landed on the moon, this is suspicious. This is very suspicious. So let's look into it.
Whilst
from
in
Mark
space,
Cameron. This is from Mark Cameron.
Whilst in space, have you ever looked away from Earth into the black void?
Yeah.
All
because
the
you can
time.
see.
Yeah,
Because you can see the stars.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, and pretty much all the time you can see the stars.
The sky is a deep black when viewed from the moon, as it is when viewed from cislunar space, the space between the Earth and the moon.
And we cannot see stars.
There's all the stars there, and the cool thing is about it, you can see it during the day.
Space, and you're on the sun side of the orbit. The sunlight washes out all the starlight, so you can't see any stars, just like here on Earth.
There's all the stars there, and the cool thing is about it, you can see it during the day.
Yeah, you can, and there's more than stars. You can see planets.
Oh man, you're saying too much.
You see the gas Magellan clouds of the Milky
you
Way
see
galaxy.
the Magellanic.
The sunlight washes out all the starlight, so you can't see any stars, just like here on Earth.
Pretty much all the time you can see the stars.
Then when you look out into deep space away from the sun, it's the darkest black you can imagine.
Just the inherent beauty of it, the velvet, bottomless bucket of the universe.
In like just hanging there in a vast sea of darkness, and the most frightening darkness that you could ever imagine.
Pretty much all the time you can see the stars. From Mark Cameron.
And the most frightening darkness that you could ever imagine.
Pretty much all the time you can see the stars.
The sky, of course, was black, but it had sort of a velvet sheen to it.
The biggest visual surprise was just how black the sky was. You have a brilliant sun, brighter than any sun you normally would see even here in New Mexico. You have these extraordinarily high mountains. We were in a valley deeper than the Grand Canyon. But then you have this black sky, a sky blacker than black, as the old Vidicon expression used to be.
There's all the stars there, and the cool thing is about it, you can see it during the day.
I've often tried to explain the difference between darkness, when you turn out the lights and it's dark in here, or blackness. Blackness is the endlessness of it all. It's hard to comprehend.
Okay, so all I want to know is, when you're in space, can you see stars or not? Because either someone didn't get the no stars memo, or I don't know, there's something going on here, guys. Like, there's something going on. Again, whether you believe we did or did not go to the moon, you have to admit this is very suspicious. This is not normal. Somebody's lying in these videos. Somebody is not telling the truth. All right, this is a funny video. It always brings me a good laugh. This is a video of a NASA scientist saying that the Van Allen belts have a huge amount of radiation and they're very dangerous, and that we're going to have to figure out how to get through them.
We are headed 3,600 miles above Earth, 15 times higher from the planet than the International Space Station. As we get further away from Earth, we'll pass through the Van Allen belts, an area of dangerous radiation.
Dangerous radiation. Very dangerous.
Radiation like this could harm the guidance systems, onboard computers, or other electronics on Orion. Naturally, we have to pass through this danger zone twice, once up and once back.
Oh man, sounds scary.
But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation. Sensors aboard will record radiation levels for scientists to study. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space. For this flight, it's time to head home.
Okay, let's just in case you missed it here, guys. He's saying that we'll have to overcome these challenges of the Van Allen belt before we can get human beings past it. But then you got to think, well, what about 1969? We had it all figured out then. Like we sure as hell got a bunch of people through the Van Allen belt and back and went to the moon a bunch of times. But did we? Is he just lying? Look at his face, man. He just looks so guilty. He's such a guilty looking guy, man. Oh wait, that's right. It was possible in 1969 to get humans to and from the Van Allen belt because we had the technology, but then we destroyed it and we lost the technology, and it's too painful to recreate the technology. So like we could recreate the technology that we had to get us through the Van Allen belt, but we destroyed it and it's too painful a process to recreate. So we'll have to just try again, and hopefully we'll be able to find a way to get humans through the Van Allen belt safely. Absolutely ridiculous. Like, absolutely ridiculous. And I hope any of you who are still with me here, it's just, come on. Like, come on, NASA. Like, you can't even keep track of all of your lies. Like, it's embarrassing. All right, so this is a video about Robert Simmons, who is a CGI artist for NASA, and he paints pictures with his computer of the Earth. So if you've ever seen pictures of the Earth from NASA, they're computer generated. They're not real images. And he's going to tell us about that. And again, I know what you're thinking. Oh, where'd you get that? Conspiracy.com? No, NASA.gov.
And in 2002, Blue Marble 2.0, NASA's Rob Simmons made this. And it had wide appeal too. For example, it ended up as the default background on the iPhone.
I didn't even know until I bought an iPhone and turned it on and kind of did a little happy dance.
Simmons' job is...
It's primarily taking data and making pictures out of it.
That's what this is. A composite of data sets from several different instruments translated into a picture.
To us, the really cool thing was the data set. Up until that point, there was no realistic color map of the globe anywhere.
So the land layer here comes from
the Moderate Resolution Imaging Spectroradiometer aboard Terra.
And the tricky part here was the weather.
So we actually had to take clouds out.
They stashed the clouds for later, went onto the ocean. That came from an instrument that measures phytoplankton.
It's all computer generated.
Where it was low, I colored it dark blue because they're low mostly in mid-oceans. And then where it was a little bit higher, it was like a little bit brighter green.
Then add the clouds back in.
There's a small problem with it because there's a very slight gap in between each orbit.
So some of those are painted on.
It is photoshopped, but it's has to be.
Then
there was another layer to sort of simulate the atmosphere.
And then there's this little bright spot.
It's called the specular highlight. So it's the reflection of sunlight off of water.
Those are the pieces, but you can't just slap them all together.
It just didn't look realistic. It looks kind of flat, or the clouds are sort of too see-through. So I just hit Command Z a lot.
There's artistry to creating the world.
What I imagine it to be. Unfortunately, I'm not an astronaut. I've never been to space. But I've looked at these images over and over again, trying to sort of get the essence of it. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be.
I love how they repeat it twice at the end. So this is real. This is Robert Simmons. It is photoshopped, but it has to be. Why does it have to be photoshopped? How come all these space stations and satellites all in Earth's orbit? How come we can't just take a photo of the Earth? Why does it have to be photoshopped? Like, why do you have to create an image of the Earth with your computer? Why can't we just take a picture of the Earth? It's 2019. Like, let's just take a raw photo of the Earth. But why is NASA always giving us these CGI images? Like, it's suspicious, man. Let's look at a couple images. Let's look at this one. So this is a photo from NASA. Again, my sources are nasa.gov. Okay, so there's North America. Look particularly at the United States. So here's the United States, right? Well, here's North America again. Also a picture from NASA. Little suspicious, eh? America got a little bit larger, just a little bit. And you have to go, interesting. And this is the point where you start to realize that all the pictures that you saw of the Earth, they're all computer-generated images. They're not even real. Here's another example. Here's a picture of Saturn from an amateur photographer. So this is probably one of the best photos you can find from an amateur photographer. Okay, that's what Saturn looks like. Then there's NASA's version of Saturn, which is just this. Obviously, this is not a real photo. Again, computer generated. It's just hilarious because it's like you're literally photoshopping the world through your eyes. So when we see pictures of the Earth, it's through Robert Simmons' perspective. Like it's so fake, man. Like it's super fake. Wow. And I know someone's going to quote me on the budget here. So here's the budget. $21 billion, which equals about $57.5 million a day. Where do you think they get that money from? Like, where do you think NASA gets this money from? Because it has to come from somewhere. It comes from people. It's taxpayer money. And I just think it's so funny. It's like, why would they lie? You know, why would NASA lie about the moon landing? And it's like, guys, this is $1 trillion lie. They have everything going on this lie. There's every reason to lie. And then people say, and then, you know, I'll say things like, you know, how come other countries haven't gone to the moon? How come the USA is the only country that's gone to the moon? And then people go, well, it's because there's nothing up there. There's nothing on there on the moon. It's empty. And you're like, guys, it's the moon. Everybody wants to go to the moon. Think about Mount Everest. There's nothing on top of Mount Everest, but people go there. Well, how come no other country has gone to the moon? And then people go, well, that's because there's nothing on top of the moon. And that's because there's nothing there. And why would anybody want to go there? Why wouldn't somebody want to go to the moon? It's the moon. Humans have looked at the moon for thousands of years, if not tens of thousands of years, and pointed to it and thought to themselves if they'd ever be able to travel there. The moon landing is the greatest achievement that humans have ever done. You don't delete the footage. People go, oh, well, there's nothing on top of the moon. Why would we go to the moon? There's nothing on the moon. There's nothing on top of Mount Everest. Everyone goes to Mount Everest. People are still climbing Mount Everest. I don't think there's anything on top of Mount Everest. I don't think there's anything that people are looking for on top of there. But people go there. So I'm not convinced when people say, oh, there's nothing on the moon. Why would you want to be the second country to go to the moon? Are you kidding me? Like, are you... How stupid do you have to be? It's just so ridiculous. It's like, guys, can we see stars or can we not see stars? Like, why is it that some astronauts are like, oh, it's so black. It's the blackest black that you'll see. And then some astronauts are like, oh my God, the light. You can see planets. You can see stars. You can see everything. It just doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. And again, it doesn't matter where you stand on the moon landing. It's very suspicious. Who's lying? Because somebody's lying. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Hopefully one day we will go to the moon. I definitely want to watch it when we do. Too bad that we destroyed the technology in 1969, and it's too painful to recreate it. Hopefully we'll be able to figure out again how to get through the Van Allen belts, and somehow we'll figure out a way to get someone on the moon and back. But it's too bad all the tapes went missing and NASA destroyed them. So too bad, eh? Well, we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.